It has been a very, very long time since From the Depths added a brand new weapon or a new damage type, and now finally we've both being added with the addition of fire damage and glorious flamethrowers. It's time to see just how well we can do if we only stick to these weapons. Now these weapons are kind of interesting. They melt through armor over time, weakening the armor value of the blocks they're destroying, and they are more of a support weapon, lacking the alpha strike and early damage of other weapons, and honestly don't seem to really hold up in the super late game. Early game, yes, late game, no. So I am honestly really concerned about this run, but also think it's going to be a ton of fun seeing which weapons deal with fire the best, since now we can use lasers, flamethrowers, cram cannons, missiles, and advanced cannons, all with their new fire counterparts, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. With one little caveat being laser damage. Finally, we do have the superheating modulator, which makes lasers do more fire damage than they used to, so I might end up using these as a main weapon. I've actually had to record this intro later on in the video than usual, because this was added midway through recording the video. Originally, I wasn't going to use lasers because of how they work. It's still more like normal laser damage, which happens to set fire later on, which isn't really in the theme of fire only. But now, with the modulator, increasing fire and decreasing initial damage output, I think it's perfectly on theme. So, into the game, and let's see if we can burn everything. And so begins our adventure in the middle of the ocean. So straight away, let's just quickly talk about the weapon types we're going to be using. Pretty much anything that can set fires we'll be using, with the rule set that we need to do as much fire damage as possible and minimize kinetic damage. Things like missiles, advanced cannons, and cram cannons all now have the ability to set fires, but they will of course do kinetic damage because a 2-meter shell to the face apparently really, really hurts. So what we'll be doing is taking steps to minimize that kinetic damage so it really doesn't matter. It's not going to be the main damage type and will be almost inconsequential to the fight itself. If we see a weapon that, yeah, the kinetic damage is doing a bit too much, then we'll simply stop using it. The main weapon we will be using, of course, is the flamethrower. This does pure fire damage and nothing else, so at least in the first half of the game, I'm hoping we can just spam flamethrowers, get in the enemy's face, and melt their faces off. Okay, so nice and simple, we're going to have a heavily armoured front, and we're going to try and keep that facing the enemy at all times, and that's going to be our first design. Now, the flamer currently is tiny, but it should do enough damage to burn down the starter wooden designs, if nothing else. Yeah, let's just go with that for now. We'll sort out things later. Now the question is, do you want this thing to hover or just skim along the water? I'm thinking hover is going to be a lot easier to begin with, to be completely honest. So an enemy has made us run away from our resource zone, at least to begin with, and I've changed my mind how we're going to do this first weapon. Instead, what we're going to be doing is this. We're going to have a turret just on the top, that way we can focus more on defense in other spots, because obviously we need to actually get towards the target, and that way I don't have to worry about us constantly setting fire to the blocks around us. Which I kind of found out the hard way when this thing fired at max range, because it figured, oh, I can hit something 3,000 meters away and instantly set fire to its own face. So yeah, even with the failsafe, it seems like flamethrowers at the moment are a little bit weird with that kind of stuff. Okay, really terrible turret cap I'm just putting down now. Ignore the turret cap, I just want it to have at least one layer of armor all the way around it. That way we don't get instantly destroyed by a single one of the enemy's missiles. Attacking at a weird angle here, so its missiles keep on just about missing us. There we go, look at that, bathing it in fire. Now, in theory, each of these 3 flamethrowers should be doing 900 damage per second. As long as they're actually connecting, so that should really be it. So sadly, the last kill ended up glitching the game a little bit, got an error sign and everything else, and the game completely froze up, eventually freeing us. And I think it's because I attached my camera to a block which got burnt off. I'm not entirely sure what caused it. Either way, another enemy is here for us to test our flamer against. Hopefully this time we won't have the same problem. Oh, we just burnt our detection system instantly there. Good to know the failsafe really wants us to burn ourselves. Ow. Now in theory, again, this is like 900 damage each per second, not against metal because of the lack of intensity, but the enemy's mostly made out of wood, so that shouldn't really be too much of a problem. So in theory, that should be death by now. If nothing else, all of its basic systems are gone. Kind of sucks that I can't attach to the enemies with my camera, which is a shame because it would look really cinematic and nice, but I'd rather the game not crash on us. Fantastic. I'll automate the whole descent thing later on. Yep, that was enough to kill it. Fantastic. So that's what I need to remember to do. Once I've done enough damage where I think it's going to kill the enemy or completely disable it, we need to move on to the next. Don't just keep on pummeling in more and more and more fire, because that damage is going to be wasted. It takes a long time for the damage to fully apply to the enemy. It's not something I'm particularly used to. I've also changed the failsafes. Now each of the flamers have their own individual one, which is weird, but I think it's working. As I immediately set fire to myself. Ah well. Such is life. Okay, that should be enough. Remember, 900 damage per second per flamer, that's a lot of damage. Okay, let's see if that's enough. Just move away. The range is actually surprisingly good. 400 meters is a lot longer than you think it is in this game. Now remember, it won't go underneath the waterline, but yep, that's still a lethality. The damage really gets applied quickly. So what I want to do is make this look like an actual final craft, hide all the RTGs so they're not as vulnerable as they are currently, and then we'll move on to difficulty 5. The first showing of the flamethrower is actually incredibly good. Against wooden targets. Who would have thought? Oh, okay, so we're not done yet. The turret cap isn't finished. It's way too low at the moment, but at least you're getting the overall design. I'm trying to build kind of a flying tank at the moment. You know, that classic flying thing. But yeah, need to redo the turret, need to do the top more so it's not just flat. That should be enough, right? Have they upped the spawn rates of the enemies in the first difficulty? I can't remember this many small enemies attacking me before. I might have been just going mad. Or maybe it's just bad luck. Who knows? Okay, do all that. Then I'll have a raised section in the middle. The turret is going to stick there and go through to about here. Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, first thing I'm going to do once I enter the next difficulty is change it so I can finally just change my altitude automatically by pressing a single button. That'll be great. There really should be enough damage, I imagine. Yeah, also need some more catalyst. If our fire is more intense, the damage gets applied faster. Because right now we have way more than enough damage on this craft to kill it. It's just taking too long. Okay. Collect that resource, go through the portal, finish off our first design, our little weird tank. Just hold the resource there for a second. So currently we look like this. Which, honestly, I'm not upset with this design. It's fine. It just needs some tweaking. It's very quick as well. Yay for light alloy. I normally don't build with only light alloy, but here we are. Okay, I ended up going into sandbox mode briefly, so the fail-safes just weren't working. No matter how I set them up on the turret itself, off the turret, it just wasn't playing ball. So, instead, I've added what I don't like to use, which is just basic fire restrictions. So now we can't fire underneath 7 degrees. So, yeah. No chance of burning ourselves again. This does mean, though, it will limit us on how much we can fire down. So, don't want to get too close to the enemy. I have, however, also sorted it out now, so if I press a single button, we'll go to 150 degrees. If we press another, we'll go back down to 10. And also, we just dodged a shot doing that, which was pretty cool. Let's burn down that wander, which I believe is mostly made of wood. Okay, I think I've sorted out the flamer now. So what I've done is I've added some fire restrictions so we can't fire below 7 degrees, which means we literally just can't burn ourselves. I didn't really want to do that because it will restrict how far down we can fire, but it'll still be okay, I think. So this is the wander, which is mostly made of wood. And that mostly made of wood is now on fire. Kind of tickling its chin then, which is interesting. Oh, I just saw a little internal explosion. Be nice once we have a stronger flamer, honestly, but for now, this is doing just fine. Ow, again. That gun's pretty nasty, so I'm pretty happy with the fact it's not getting through into our vitals. Just keep on going around it so it can't face us directly. That's all we need to do. Every second, that's several thousand fuel being added to the fire. Admittedly not doing full damage versus the metal, but as long as it takes out enough of the wood. Yep, there we go, out of control. We are very annoying, aren't we? Wow, I really do need more intensity. So the first enemy of difficulty 5 here can't really hit us with the missiles because of the range we're at, which is lovely. And it's showing two things. First of all, I've just put down some firing restraints on the flamers, so they can't fire below -7 degrees, which means we can't burn ourselves, which is great. But also, we really do need more intensity because this thing's made of metal, and as you can see, it's not really hurting it all that much. So in terms of control, super happy with the craft. In terms of armor, happy with the craft. In terms of style, surprisingly happy with the craft. Damage, not happy. Okay, so yeah, so we just need to change up the weapon completely. Maybe I'll... actually, what do I want to do? I could just make a single flamethrower and then add some of the catalysts. And then double down on that single flamer. That might be better, honestly, as much as I do prefer the 3-barrel like this, because it just looks nicer with a thicker flame. So I've changed up the flamer. It now only has one flamethrower, and it has an intensity of 40, meaning it'll deal its damage faster, the same amount of damage, just dealt faster, and it will deal full damage versus metal. Obviously pretty darn important versus pretty much every single enemy. And our first test subject is a Wander. Now, I'm very thankful I've put most of my resources into the armor of this thing, because the Wander shells can legitimately be a major problem at this difficulty. It's a nasty railgun. A nasty advanced cannon. Don't think it's a railgun, though. Be a bit weird for Deep Water Guard using railguns. There we go, because blocks coming off straight away. 25,000 damage dealt already. It's lost both its little wing things. Probably should just focus on one area, but it's less fun. But stacking some fire in one place could mean we can actually get to internals and stuff. At the moment, we're just kind of shredding armor, which is still working. The great thing of fighting the Wander is as soon as you're underneath it, it's pretty much helpless. Please don't fire the gun again. Going out of control, so yeah, almost 100,000 damage done, and that'll be a victory. Okay. There's a resource zone over there. I'm going to take the resources from that, and then we're going to be changing up the hull of this craft, because although I actually really like our little tank, it is surprisingly small. It's like half the size of the Wander, and I can't put the gun into the hull, which means I have no space for that flamer, so it's still absolutely teeny tiny. So although it doesn't look that impressive damage-wise, bear in mind the whole flamethrower is only this turret cap. It's not inside the craft at all. Okay, so for now, I've changed the turret into a static flamer, and rather than doing about 2,000 fuel per second, this one is 7,000, and once again it is a flame intensity of 40, so full damage versus metal. We do need to fully armor up this back section though. There's a lot more empty space now, so I will be re-adding the turrets later, but for now, yeah, we're just focusing on this, and that's taking up pretty much all of this front section here. There it is. And there's still more space to upgrade it later, but right now we don't really have the engine power for it or the resources, to be completely honest. So once I'm fully armoured up, I'll go to difficulty 10, and hopefully this new flamer with the triple damage and still 40 intensity should just melt through targets far better than the old turret. Once again, a Wander is going to be our test subject. Oh yeah, that is looking so much better. Look at that! The fire spread almost immediately because of the higher fuel and obliterated the target. Yep, that is so much better. Okay, let's go through the red portal. And actually, no, let's finish off that resource zone, then go through the red portal, armor ourselves up, some more fights. Okay, difficulty 10. We've re-added the turret cap. It's a lot bigger than it was before and actually goes into the craft as well. Both of the flamers are around about the same strength, which is, around about 7,000 fuel per second. So in theory, 7,000 damage every single second that the flamers are actually hitting a target. Please take out that thing's turret cap as soon as possible. It is so annoying. Oh yeah, look at that damage adding up in the top right. Already 30,000, already 40,000, 50, 60. Yeah, that fire is nasty. Now, we still haven't added any oxidizer, which means we still can't hurt things underwater. That being said, if we can just take out that turret cap, this whole fight's just over anyway. Yep, that turret cap's looking pretty melted. I see no armor left on it at all already. Perfect. We're kind of sinking into the water a bit. I think my engines aren't quite strong enough for both of these weapons. I didn't even consider that. What is that thing? Oh, it's the scuttle gun I want to say. Deep water guard, either way. Yeah, that thing's gonna go up like a lovely barbecue. Wow, like every single block instantly on fire because of the amount of fuel we're just pumping into this. Fantastic. Yeah, flamers get really good once you hit certain thresholds, it seems. I'm just gonna go straight to difficulty 15. Still not sure about the turret cap, though. I'm actually starting to think that spinal-mounted flamers are a lot easier to protect, but also functionally easier to use than turrets. Though turrets will be good against like aircraft and such, so I don't really know. Maybe less reliance on turrets, but still using a few. Either way, we'll be adding some different weapon types very soon. Okay, what if we go with a small railgun, 250mm, and again what we're doing is, as much as possible, minimizing how much kinetic damage. The fire's the main thing, so rather than going with an armor-piercing head or anything, which would work really well with fire, since every time you hit the target it's weakening its armor because fire is special like that, but we're gonna just minimize that for now. Let's say 2,000 for rail, sure. So kinetic damage is 4k, there we go, yeah, but our fire is 15k. Wonderful. So, how about we take that to just 30 for now? So we have an intensity of 30. We could take it all the way to 40, but that would minimize the amount of damage we're doing per shot by quite a lot. Saying that, we can fire these very quickly, so 6,000 might not sound like much, but it's going to be a very long distance, so we can burst fire. Okay, let's go with maximum intensity for now, because we are seeing more metal opponents, and we'll see how this does. Of course, an enemy straight away long before I'm anywhere near ready with this gun yet. Haven't even added recoil suppression, as you can see by the bounce. I've only just set it up as well, it's not even reloaded yet. Oh, because I have no ammo, come on, I'm nowhere near ready. I think a melee craft, because it does appear to be really wanting to get close to us, which is somewhat concerning. Yep, those are drills. Okay, direct it on the drill there, so that's 6,000 fire damage directly to its face. Okay, I'm seeing blocks melt off, and the fire is spreading pretty quickly, actually. That's looking nice. Oh, I've turned off the AI, haven't I? Okay, that's why we're not firing. Thankfully, we seem to be quicker than it, so that's fine. And then the real damage with the flamer. Not exactly the best first test, admittedly, but at least we see it works, and the kinetic damage really is nothing in comparison to the fire damage. God, that lack of recoil suppression, it kicks the entire craft into orbit. God, the flamer can really do a lot of damage very quickly, can't it? Okay, cool. Something else is after us. Ooh, change altitude quickly, thank you. Back down. And we have... ooh, a plasma enemy. That's a rare sight. Trying to hit with that is so bad right now. Lovely. It's trying to stay out of the water, which is exactly what we want to see, because that means it can't put out the fire. What I love about the fire is just the fact that you can clearly see when you've won, even though the fight isn't over yet. Okay. Can I now please build with the resources I have? Thank you. Okay, we have too many resources and I don't want to linger on difficulty 15, so for the first time we are going to go to the sandbox mode and we're going to do some work on the craft. I'm thinking we could just double down on the flamer and just make it way bigger, because that would just be funny. But yeah, we need the railgun at least functional, so if we are up against enemies which are far too quick or sit way too high in the air, we at least have a basic weapon against them. And of course we'll go with flame missiles and everything else later. So after all the tests, this is the weapon I've chosen. It's a shotgun railgun. People probably won't be too surprised to hear that, because I absolutely love shotgun railguns. This one fires 12 rounds at 100mm each, and the reason why I've chosen this is because the amount of kinetic damage it does is pretty much inconsequential. At incredibly low gauges, the amount of armor piercing you have is so low that even stacked wood can actually resist it. There we are. So that did 3,000 kinetic damage, and we'll see a lot more fire damage. On top of that, because it is a shotgun style weapon, we simply can't have enough recoil suppression for full accuracy, which means it does better the closer the enemy is. So it still fits the theme of aircraft wanting to get right up in the enemy's face. There we go, just hit its core for 4,000. The fire's still burning away. I wonder if that's going to stop the weapon or not. Come on, stop the weapon, have a nice impressive showcase. No, okay, second round. Good shot again, the weapon is gone. The fire damage is spreading. Oh, the fire damage is in the weapon. Yep, that weapon is long gone. So there's the Gotha completely disabled. So it's not going to be a weapon which has these amazing results, but it'll fit the theme incredibly well, and it will deal decently against small enemy harassment flyers. So things like the Gotha here are going to have a big problem now that we have an actual anti-air weapon. I don't think I'll let it auto-fire either. I think it'll be purely a manually fired weapon because of the shotgun nature of it, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. Only costs 10,000, does a lot of fire damage, and it's fun to use. As soon as we spawn back in, we got under attack, so good chance to do some flamer damage. Yeah, our railgun's going to be nowhere near as much damage as the flamethrower, so we're still going to be sticking to this type of combat as much as possible early on. There we go, look at that. Oh, look how fast the blocks are being destroyed near the end there. Wow, yeah, that flamer, once you get to certain thresholds, I've already said this at some point, the flamers become really nasty. My browser crashed in the background, and what I didn't notice is it managed to take my recording software with it, so for the last 20 minutes I've been fighting things without actually recording. So, yeah, we're still in difficulty 15, now in difficulty 20. There were multiple enemies, the sailing enemies from Onyx Watch, which catched fire incredibly easily, and so we burnt them down. Caught fire. They caught fire incredibly easily. Apparently, my speech crashed with the browser. Anyway, we're back, now in difficulty 20. With way too many resources, so I'm going to be running straight for the next red portal. Ooh, lovely. Okay, so there is a red portal there. I've added a little bit of oxidizer on a random side note to my flamer. I did discuss that in the section I lost because of the recording software being off. But here's the thing. I just realized we could potentially be a flamethrower submarine. Because flamers work underwater, right? Because you can damage things underwater with the oxidizer. As long as they can actually fire underwater, you could potentially have a flamethrower-based submarine, which I think would be one of the stupidest concepts of all time. I mean, I really should just go for the red portal. This is a giant melee enemy made of mostly wood. I mean, can you blame me for not wanting to fight it? So clearly it has cram cannons. Does it have anything else? Well, other than a lot of fire now. Wonder how this thing turns. If we can stop it from turning, we'll just get behind. Oh, it turns using the spin block at the back. Oh, that's problematic for it then. There we go. There goes its spin block. Let's just make sure its butt is nice and on fire, and we'll let the fire spread from there. Yeah, so in theory, those fires should still be, yep, working underwater. Now, there's not much oxidizer, so for like every 1,000 fuel, I think only 200 of that will actually have oxidizer, so the fires still go out far faster underwater, but the point is they can do some damage. So we won't see problems like in my test video with the flamethrower, where enemies just suddenly stop being on fire altogether. I wish there was an anchor button, because I would love to just be able to stay perfectly still sometimes. Just keep on putting the fire in one spot, and this fire will spread horribly. Ooh, can we? Where's that gun that just fired at me? Don't know. Can we, by any chance, take out this? Railgun? Nope, you just wanted to miss completely. Just wanted to see if we could get the top section to fall off, because that would be funny. We're almost at 1 million fire damage done here, which is kind of ridiculous. I do wonder if hit and run would work better with flamers, because this thing's dead. There's no way we haven't put enough fuel onto the target that it's gonna survive this. But it's still fighting back. Maybe even a dive option, being able to go underwater, so you set the thing on fire, then you dive to stay safe while the fire devours the enemy. Yay, the top fell off! Perfect! And so ends difficulty, whichever difficulty we're currently on. I'm not going to collect all the resources. I know I'm leaving some behind. We're already miles ahead resource-wise. I don't want to make it too easy for myself, and I'm already accidentally doing that because of how much testing I'm doing. Let's upgrade the hull as we find our next target. Okay, we have a plane. Oh, that's what we were testing on. Go up in the air. Go up in the air right now. That thing drops bombs, I think. Oh, they're fighting each other. Don't know which one's scarier. Big wooden target or much... Oh, well, now we know. The scarier one is the tiny one, apparently. Whichever that is. I think it's Scarlet Dawn, in fact. It's on fire now, which is lovely. Some good hits there. It looks like it lost its nose when it collided with the other one, which is bizarre to see. Really not close enough for a flamethrower at all there. Oh, maybe we did just about catch it with a flamer. Try and stay close and annoying if possible. Come on, let me burn a... Ooh, I was going to say burn a plane, but I think it's going to sink. Well, that was silly. Okay, there's a blue portal there. There's resources everywhere. It's obvious what I need to do. I'm going to collect that resource zone, collect the resources from these two targets who just killed each other for me. Then I'm going to go through the blue portal and have a complete overhaul of the craft. Not really what I wanted to do, but I think it would be the best right now. For anyone new to the Adventure series, what the blue portals do is, unlike the red portals, which take you only up 5 difficulties, this one takes you up far higher than that, but first gives you a safe zone for you to build and change up your craft before rocketing you up multiple difficulties ahead. So it's like, I think, 4 red portals, something like that, which will increase the difficulty substantially. So the reason why we're going through this is because I've got so much resource at the moment, we're fighting enemies a little bit smaller than us, with the exception of some of the Deepwater Guard large targets, and I would rather fight things our own size. It's basically a hard mode. Okay, so what we're doing is essentially duplicating the top at the bottom, so there's plenty of space for us to work with now, meaning we can make the railgun significantly larger. It also means there's more space for the flamer, so it's currently in the same position it was before, but I've moved the actual weapon itself into the middle section here. This means we can armor up the tanks a lot better, with only the weapon itself being somewhat vulnerable. Eventually, although I normally don't use these, we're probably going to have some shields just pointing out to the front here to protect our flamer. Although, I'm also tempted to have multiple flamers, so splitting it up into multiple parts, that way a single hit won't suddenly disable our main weapon. Something like that anyway. So for now, it's still going to be kind of blobby. It kind of makes me think of a Corvette from Stellaris, to be completely honest, but I will eventually make it more... not elegant, but more designed. I do have an idea in mind, but it is going to take a while and a lot more resources. Anyway, back to work. Okay, I'm just in the sandbox mode testing out the changes I made to the railgun. Now, this is very complex, but what I've done is make it bigger. It's the exact same gun, but now it should be packing way more of a punch. There we go. So 13,000 kinetic damage there. The fire is very quickly eclipsing that. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have gone for the tail. We're not going to see the full damage of this thing. Yeah, it's got absolutely no oxidizer, so that fire's going to go straight out. But it did kill the enemy. Let's try that again, shall we? I would like to actually see the full extent of the damage, if possible. I guess I should probably go for more like the core. There we go. I think its vitals are near the back section, though I'm not entirely sure. So hopefully we actually miss the vitals. I want to see how much damage this thing does. I'm thinking about 100 to 150,000. It is once again intensity 40, which means full damage versus metal. Okay, it's taken out the back gun, and yep, there goes the craft. That is so much deadlier than it used to be. And it is just a matter of there are now more autoloaders, so that burst is now significantly bigger. Lovely. Okay, just need to armor this thing up, but it's ready to go. Yes, we are pretty much going into the next difficulty as this angry blob with a mouth. Which weirdly does describe me some days. straight out of the sandbox mode, and honestly, I'm not particularly happy at the moment. We're not where I want to be in terms of the look of the craft or the functionality. I also think I overestimated how much resource we have and underestimated how expensive the enemies are going to be. I've been looking at the graphs and everything of the average prices, and we are woefully undercosted right now. Probably should have just gone through a red portal. But still, we'll see. It's either going to be a really difficult fight where we end up winning and I feel good about myself, or we end up dying hilariously and everyone can point and laugh at these silly lathricks. In the end, either I'm happy and you're happy, or I'm unhappy and you're even happier, so yay! Little drones. I think they have small missiles. Is that the Braveheart or something similar? It's definitely Steel Strider regardless. I'm hoping it uses cram cannons, because at least then we can do some dodging. Oh no, it uses missiles. It definitely uses missiles. Well, avoided 0 of those, so that was good. Okay, good few hits. Something else has just spawned in. That's not great. Looks like it's lightning hoods. The saber, actually that's not too expensive, and I do not know what this is. Oh, what a cool thing. The orbit. Okay, I've actually got 2 quite cheap targets. Why am I going in the water? I was just at this altitude and fine. Whatever, let's do some burning. Oh, I didn't give a chance for my gun to reload. I just thought I only spawned it in. Has no shells in the bloody auto-loaders. Okay. Do a little burning, that's fine. Oh, that's not fine. Go straight for that core. Good, them his missiles are going after it rather than us as we burn it. Okay, we just completely obliterated that using the flamethrower. Please say that fire was enough. Show me that the railgun can do its job. Okay, that jet just went down, and yeah, that was it. Perfect. Okay, good. Flamethrower worked, railgun worked, everyone is happy. Except for this little drone. He just lost his parents and now his face. War. War never changes. I'm not a big fan of going to the sandbox mode every single time I want to do any work, but I've got to be honest, I am just so unhappy with how this thing looks and handles at the moment. Weapon-wise, incredibly happy. Looks-wise, unhappy. So I didn't really get that many extra resources. I think I've got like 40 or 50,000 resources to play with, something like that. And honestly, a lot of the build currently is inefficient, so I'm going to just strip pretty much all the armor away and rebuild this, not from scratch, but certainly style-wise, expect it to be very different very soon. Okay, I don't want to spend too long on this, so I did this in like 15 minutes. So we're going to have a heavy flamer here on the front, we're going to have the railgun reinstalled in what is now the new center over here, and then we're going to drag it back a little bit, probably to around about here. This way, this design should be a lot more future-proof. We can expand it very easily in comparison to the old one, and it also has more space for just layers and layers of armor because there's lots of empty space here, so we can work with that very, very easily. We also need to make sure we can turn nice and quickly. So this is going to be a turret. It isn't on the exact front, which is a bad thing, because it means anything directly in front of us we might have some issues with, but I am going to limit the arc of fire from this flamer, despite the fact it's a turret, to about 30 degrees, 20 degrees either way. That way it can only fire forwards. I think this is just going to be much easier to protect. Having it directly on the front like that, I noticed very quickly that it's going to get knocked off almost instantly every single fight, so I do think it being part of a turret is probably the best bet. Don't like it as much, but think it's the best idea. We could just add a small flamer on the front. I mean, that's the great thing about flamethrowers. They're very cheap for the damage they do. Just add a small 40 intensity flamer on the front. That main one is going to be 50 to 60 intensity, then the railgun sadly can only go to 40. I think that can work. Or we could maybe postpone the railgun for a little while and go with missiles instead, so swapping our weapons already. There's so many options and I love that. So, this is what I've came up with in the end. It's taken about an hour, 2 hours, but I think I finally started to get some progress done. So on the front, we have 2 flamethrowers. Each of these are 55 intensity and 15,000 fuel per second, meaning full damage versus metal, mostly full damage versus heavy armor, and the damage will be applied nice and quickly. Both of them are set up with different mainframes, which means they'll be targeting different blocks and hopefully spreading the fire a little bit faster. The railgun is going to be reinstalled here. All of this mainframe stuff is going to go in the middle and be nice and protected in this section with some superstructure on top eventually, and then the back has plenty of space, it's mostly empty right now, for more armor, for the laser systems, and for a couple of missile silos, considering we can now have fire damage based missiles. Basically, it's going to be really hollow for a while, but it means it's going to be a lot more future-proof, so I can continue to add to this craft without doing this big sandbox mode again. Really, this is what I should have done hours ago when I went through the blue portal. So my mic was muted that entire fight, so that's fantastic. All I was really saying is let's go for the jets so it can't move properly, and then go for the core, and that's pretty much all that happened. So nothing really more insightful than that. Before that though, I was talking about a joke item in the game, which if we go to miscellaneous, we have the candles. And I want to show those off because I completely forgot about them. So they chant, which is interesting, very quietly, but also if you rock around too much, the candles will actually fall off their stand and will cause fires. And I believe this is how fire damage was first announced to the game. I think it was an April Fool's. But now we also have the fixed versions, which I think look absolutely awesome, and definitely have a kind of White Flyers fanatical vibe you can easily sort out, like chapels and everything else, which I think would be glorious. Anyway, first very expensive enemy of this difficulty defeated. I'm going to use that resource purely to armor ourselves up. I want at least one more proper fight. This time with Mimic. I have never heard this track before, so I'm turning it up. Okay, well, Lightning Hood's target, I think. I just re-entered the game, I just took a quick break for lunch, and this is what I was greeted with. Love that. Fantastic, let's see if we can take out its gun. Try and go for the turret cap as much as possible, try and intercept in terms of our movements. Oh, I think we may have already took out the turret cap, really? Wow. Love this railgun. Okay, we're pretty EMP resistant, so I'm not too worried there with missiles. Okay, about the same cost. Well, not quite the same cost as we are, more expensive, but still in the same ballpark. Oh, EMP dead. Fantastic. Now, I can't actually ram it because otherwise it'll set fire to us. I think it would have took too long to try and capture that then. Very neat. But the enemy has appeared. We are close to some red portals, so we could just run away. Ooh. Oh, the iron gate's really nasty. Red portal there, red portal there. Probably best to go for the one there. Turning will take a bit too long. Yeah, let's go for that. Run away to difficulty 50, and we can spend this 83,000 resource. Listen to this music. So I just came back from a lunch break and this is what I heard. What a way to greet me back. And can we take out its weapon? That would be great, please. Sure, hit everything but the turret cap, that's fine. I'm concerned because, of course, lasers now start fires. And we are incredibly flammable. There we go. Your funky music cannot save you from fire. Oh, hello. Okay, so difficulty 50. I've just installed the AI onto our railguns. Now I've added a second one with the resources we got before. Should I be trying to avoid this? I don't actually know what this is. So, should I be going away from it or towards it to get underneath it? That's the question. Okay, it looks like our detection system is good enough. It looks like it's scattered a bit. That's fine. The assertiveness. Quite a cheap one. Railgun, I think? Don't really know then. I guess it's not firing yet, so maybe we should run away, or at least at an angle. Oh no, it is firing. Just keep moving randomly, I guess, and hope our shells actually hit. Quite a lot of misses there. Okay, new target. Well, it's a lot of fires on that thing, and I doubt this is going to be as cheap. No! A Thunderbird! All the cheap stuff on them. I know for a fact there are some craft which are like 500k in this difficulty. I was hoping that would be EMP. EMP would have been a lot better because we're very EMP resistant. There we go, that's better. Okay, cause some fires on the Lightning Hood's craft. First to go out of control. Okay, we have hit again. Beautiful, look at that, the fire's raging all in the front there. Really happy that I've gave the AI to this thing. So I have detection systems all over the craft, but as usual I've made them invisible because I can't blend them in. Anytime I try and use AI stuff, it just doesn't look right. Every time. Okay, so missile protection and anti-laser stuff is definitely what we need to add next. Saying that, it's not like our offense is doing that great either. Okay, hold your fire. I want to manually fire the last shot. Try and go for the turret if possible. There we go. Okay, first craft's gone, so now it's going to be completely targeting us. I mean, it already was with the missiles, but now the lasers as well. There we go. Lovely. Hit the same spot. Some kind of internal explosion. Okay, I think we got it. That did not get killed very quickly, though. Yeah, the railguns are fun, but I don't think that they're the most efficient way of spreading fire. But they are fun. Probably didn't get much more than just our resources back there, so I guess we'll stick around in this difficulty for a while longer. Okay, so straight after that last fight, we already have something attacking us. Oh, we had some drones which got taken out. I think we may have targeted them, or they just happened to hit the parents. That is very expensive.
Engaging now.
Please get any hits, that would be great. I'm going to ignore the children for now, focus on the parents. That just missed completely. Yep, missed completely. Fantastic. Just hoping that the smaller craft need the parent to support it with resources or something. Okay, now we've caused some fires. Please don't take out a gun. Really wish I had some cruise missiles or something at this point, to be completely honest. Okay, a few more little fires apparently breaking out. Looks like most in the back of the craft. We are seeing a lot falling off, which is nice. Running out of power. Need more battery storage, honestly. 2 fights in a row is already depleting us pretty nastily. Okay, so there's the guns right in the back. Manual fire there. Soon as you're done reloading, please just fire away. Oh, start to turn, but did it get the hit anyway? Yes, it did, as the music changes brutally. These are pretty small railguns, hence the long reload time. Okay, good, that back gun's gone. Let's take out this one next. Ah, maybe I should have just gone for the jets. If I could get this thing to go out of control. Okay, one of our guns is gone. But if I could have got this thing to go out of control, that would have been a win. Okay, the flamethrower just killed one of the small craft. That's pretty funny, honestly. Our armor's holding up pretty well. I'm still surprised only one of our guns have gone so far. Just keep going for that jet. Let's see what we've done so far then. Yeah, back gun completely removed. Oh, it's encased in heavy armor, not great. Still though, we are getting close to taking out. Again, heavy armor's a weird one. High fire resistance, but it is flammable, so it will feed the fire. So you'll probably see it going on for quite a while, despite our lack of intensity on the small shells. So much so, that thing's going down. We're going too high up, so let's lower our altitude. I was hoping for an out of control message, but apparently not just yet. Okay, change again. Let's have a look, see where its guns are. So we're currently being shot at from 2 advanced cannons there, one at the back, which I think is really pretty damaged. Just like there. Over 1 million fire damage done now in this fight. Don't really have the power to get close up. I really wish we could to use the flamethrower if our flamethrower is even active. Too low. We've won this one. Okay, nice. Pretty happy with how this thing handled. Took a while for the back turret to get destroyed, the front turret didn't. And we took a lot of hits without being disabled. Really happy with the craft so far. Now, as for you annoyances... when am I meant to even shoot you exactly? Loads of resources there, which should be a full repair for the back gun. Probably not all that much saved after that, though, to be completely honest. So, we are being attacked right now, but the damage is really low. It's from an aircraft. I'm just manually firing, so it keeps going past us so quickly. But yeah, our damage is fine, so I'm not too sure what's going on there with this laser. Maybe we got lucky and hit a laser system early on. I did miss the first hit because the AI did the targeting for me. Oh! Wow, yeah, we got really lucky with that first shot. It looks like we've torn several systems in half. Yeah, we're taking almost no damage from the laser. Look, it's just not doing anything. It's more just visual. I would say it's chipping the paint, but I don't think it's even doing that. Yeah, we just got incredibly lucky. I really wish I actually saw that first hit, but I was busy repairing and changing things at the time. Also, it's still on fire. Well, that was a very anticlimactic fight. I know the flamethrower is super fun and really powerful when it hits. My god, it's so much more powerful than the railguns. But actually getting use out of it right now is proving very difficult. So what I'm tempted to do is make a spinal-mounted higher gauge railgun, which can only fire forwards, which will be nice and easy to protect, maybe a 6 meter or even 8 meter set of shells, or a laser system. Remember, lasers now set fires based on the block they destroy. Either would be significantly better than what we currently have. Because right now it's like 80,000 resources, which just doesn't get used in fights, no matter how much I try to get towards the target. It's not really working out. At some point, I'll have to do a flamethrower / melee only run, but I don't think this is that run. I just want to see how good fire is. I feel like I'm handicapping myself a little bit using these. Okay, so no time to test all this stuff. Oh, a melee craft. Excellent, I remember you. So what I've done is I've added some missiles to the center of the craft, and I've changed the flamer over to a long-range railgun. So this isn't the 8 meter I was thinking of. Instead, it's a 3 meter, so it's still pretty darn nasty. Per shot, it's doing something like 20-30,000 fire damage, and it does fire at a decent rate at a very long range. The missiles obviously are also pure incendiary, so I know it seemed weird moving towards it, but because I think I'm faster than it, yep, just sliding on past. Then aiming at that section there, that's where its side guns are. Hopefully that'll set those alight. Haven't yet put the missiles with the AI, so I'm having to manually do that, which is a little bit annoying. Currently out of ammo because, well, I hadn't had a chance to load the new gun on the front. It's actually cheaper than the flamer by a significant margin. Far less damage per second, though. Honestly, the rail shotguns have been really good so far. Just keep going in circles like this, then I'll never be able to catch us. There we go. More of the railguns going away. The fight's going on for so long, my other railgun's actually starting to repair itself. What happened to those missiles then? What did they just do? There we go, well done. You hit the target and started some more fires. Oh, beautiful. Well, too bad for you, this time I actually have some smoke defense. Oh, out of ammo. Oh, I didn't think about the new ammo usage of everything. Okay, so I now have missiles and a larger gauge weapon on the front, which currently can't hit the enemy. Oh, because I've turned it off, that's why. There we go. These shells are going at 1,200 meters per second, making them significantly faster than the other guns, meaning they're actually good at long range. However, did I just lose it straight away? Nope, I was accidentally holding the control. Whoops-a-daisy. And this is why we want it, because it can actually hit the target. Overall damage per second is much lower than the shotguns, but it is significantly more reliable, even at longer ranges, and because the fire is more condensed, it actually has a higher chance of getting through the outer armor and doing some more internal damage. As you can see, I have added some smoke defense, which is making us far more difficult to fight against lasers. Or with lasers, I guess. Which is good, because this fight's taking absolutely forever. How big is this thing? The Spectrum. Well, I don't know what it is originally, since we've done so much damage, but still. Not as expensive as I expected, honestly. And also, I do have missiles. Believe me, they are there. Let me just spawn in some ammo. Well, not really spawn in, I still have to pay for it, but still. There we go. Cruise missiles. Decent amount of payload. Pure fire as well. We're now a lot more reliable, I would say. Finally adding shields when we get attacked before I can actually turn them properly on. So that thing I think has particle cannons. I'm fairly certain I just saw some. So I'm hoping all these shots are hitting that particle cannon directly in its face. Because particle cannons are probably the most scary weapon in the game, honestly. There go our missiles. Looks like we may have actually taken out the cannon because it only fired once and never again. Its interceptors weren't good enough for our missiles either, so our missiles got through. Oh, nope, it's still firing the... Oh my god, that's a strong particle cannon. On the upside, that thing is going to be really on fire at this point. I'm going to take manual control for a second. I want to try and hit the core. There we are. Yeah, it took out our back turret. Oh my god, look at the amount of damage that just did. Yeah, particle cannons are definitely the most scary weapon, just no doubt. We need more reinforced bodies on the missiles. I didn't really want to use them because it also increases their kinetic damage, but they kind of got obliterated in half a second then, which isn't ideal. On the upside, that fire is now in the internals. Lots of vulnerable internals are flammable. Oh, don't crash into us, please! There we go. Also, I like the fact I was finally adding shields, and the first enemy we get attacked by is using a weapon that isn't affected by shields. Now, I haven't used shields in a very, very long time because they're so expensive. And they got nerfed at one point, and that's kind of just left me thinking they're weaker than they actually are, even though it's definitely a poor assumption on my part. And I can't remember how the angles work. Is it, if a shot is going to hit a shield perfectly like this, in line with the shield, it's got more of a chance to go through, and then if it hits a shield like this at an angle, it's got more chance of being deflected. So this one here doesn't want to be shot diagonally, but wants to be shot directly from the front. Or does that not even matter? I legitimately can't remember. Either way, we're going to add more shields, we're going to add some to the turrets as well, and then I'm going to have a manual on-off button because they are very, very expensive. I'll also make them invisible because this is kind of obnoxious. And is it better to have a few large ones or lots of small ones? These are currently strength 7, which is close to max. They do take so much power. Hey, it worked. Great. I literally just installed that, so now we can turn our shields off and on. Is that the Hobgoblin? Or something similar? It's the really gun-focused one. Right, did I not install... Oh, I still haven't installed AI for the missiles yet. Keep forgetting to do that. I thought I had for a second, but I must have just thought about it. Oh! Explosions. Let's try and dodge that cram if possible. One hit, not too bad. Will our missiles get through? Yes, they will. That's a lot of fires that are set up. Fantastic. Try and get underneath this thing if possible. Cool, there's beautiful fires and more fires. There we go, we're behind it. And now the fire damage is really stacking up. Lovely. Not really the best test for our shields, but still, nice. Need to fully shield this thing up though. These are just like the practice shields. All I need to do is go into this handbox mode later on and just test versus shields to see what works and what doesn't. We'll just Google it. First enemy of difficulty 55, it is a twin guard, lots of cram cannons, but also it has advanced cannons, and I think it may have had missiles. We've been firing at it all the way. I didn't really want to get too close because of the cram cannons, but been really struggling to hit the... Oh, never mind, I was about to say struggling to hit the base. I hardly got to see that fight. Wow, the fire just ravaged... Oh, look at that. Look at the path that fire took. Welp. Just don't go in front of it, it can no longer turn, and it will drown in a second. Okay, first fight at 55, a little bit quick. So with the resources I've got, I'm consolidating what we already have. One major problem we're seeing is that the turret cap gets knocked off a lot. This is because it was just honestly a bit too small, and even though I had armoured up the neck of it, which normally I don't, which is a major weakness of my building style, that was also still not enough. So, I've removed both the turrets, we're adding a new one on the top, that way when we're facing the target we can still fire all of our damage potential. Then in these new spaces, this one is going to be used to strengthen the front gun, the back one is either going to be used now for the new missile silo, or it's going to be used to finally add a laser munition defense. Well, I've been changing up my weapons completely, so not a great time to be attacked, but here we are. Yet that weapon is not fully online yet, but thankfully we do have lots of smoke protection, so at least we're not taking full damage from this thing. So I'm going for kind of a Event Horizon style. I've been consolidating the two turrets we've already got. This way it'll be a lot easier to make sure I can always hit with it. In addition to that, I'm going to be changing up the front weapon as soon as I can. Why did it target so far to the right then? Ooh, that movement was weird. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. If it is intentional, very cool. Okay, good few hits there on the wing. Really wish I hadn't fired because I could be firing right now directly at the weapon, which would be significantly better. I mean, didn't quite hit the weapon, but definitely hit some stuff. There's an explosion there. Thank you, smoke protection. Thank you, lots and lots of armor. I think the laser's offline. Yeah, it's trying to aim at us right now. I'm not actually doing anything. So just hold fire till we've definitely got a good shot. Also, I can't move properly right now since I was changing the thrusters. That was perfect. That definitely is going to go into the core at least a little bit. Yep, those are definitely core sections. Hopefully, that'll be it. That was a good shot there. Yep, AI dead. It is dead. Goodbye to the Thunderbird. Okay, back to building. Being attacked by a submarine, so I can't even test out my new weapon. Now it's mostly fully online. Note to self, add some torpedoes. Well, proving that our armor's doing okay then, considering we are being pelted with particle cannons and missiles and just kind of moving along. The turret itself now is way more protected than it used to be. So I'm not too worried about that thing going up. Okay, welcome to difficulty 60. Okay, welcome to 60. Here's an aircraft. Can't even see the shells, but you can hear how long that went on for. Oh, that thing has really nasty missiles if it gets above us. I really wish I could move it faster. I have no idea how much damage is being done because the clouds are so bright, they're hiding all the numbers. 69k. Nice. Must have missed a lot to only do that much damage. Okay, now the numbers are stacking up. Although I think... No, never mind. For a second I thought it took out my batteries. It did not. The batteries are currently at the back of the craft, but they are quite heavily armoured. Ooh, that fire is ripping that thing apart. Beautiful. Okay, get ready. We could have gave this back to the AI, but I really wanted to manually fire at least this first one. Incoming. Okay. We are fast enough to have dodged that. What is that? Okay, there's a twin guard as well. Just zoom in so I can actually go proper third person. Thank you. 600k, and I can't imagine that plane still functioning properly. At this distance, I'm just going to go for the torso. It won't do much since the enemy can heal the torso, but it will at least slow it down and start devouring its resources. Oh, there's two of these planes! You are kidding me. Okay, all direct hits there. Hopefully that's where its weapon was. I'm not entirely sure where it is. Okay, next, go for the base of that. I have to get used to the fact as well, this new version of the gun can also reload a lot faster, so after it's fired, I can just fire again, I think in like 20 seconds or less. Yep, there we go again. It's significantly stronger than the old version. Okay, there we go, the base is very badly damaged there. Let's hit the back of this craft. Normally these twin guards have weak spots on the back, since the idea is they can always face forwards. There we are. Where's that other plane gone? There it is. Okay, you're just completely broke, and you're very slow, so I'm assuming both of you are broke. Is something else attacking me? Wait. 1, 2... There's 3 of them! Of the tyrants. These don't spawn in groups, by the way. That was just sheer luck. It just seemed like going directly towards it is the best idea, because if we can go fast enough, its missiles kind of miss the mark. Oh, that fire was perfect. Look at that. Instantly taking out the gun, and yep, seems like that's where we should be aiming. Is that the only one with guns left? What an interesting start to a difficulty. Okay, that one's got its small gun at the back still going. That's about it. As you can see, the new gun is significantly better than the old 2 guns. Let's try and finish this off if we can. I don't think either of you should be firing anymore. As long as I don't have the missile systems left, it doesn't really matter about that small gun. I can see nothing because of the brightness. I hate this weather. This is the worst weather. It's actually hurting my eyes slightly. I will darken this in the editing. So what you're seeing is darker than what I'm seeing. That's whole wing fell off. Ow, ow, ow. Which one still has guns? Let me check. I mean, they look pretty intact, so I think it might have just been you, and, well, you just lost a wing. Just get to the resource zone and we'll just hunker down there. We need to recharge our batteries. But again, I was actually adding all the engine stuff back when we got attacked by the submarine and had to run. So next up, RTGs need to go back, maybe a fuel engine, and then we also need to add some torpedoes. Oops, something just exploded. Oh, okay. It was that one with the missile still. I think I've got a lethal shot. I just hit its front section there, so it's on fire again, and it's classed as too high, so clearly its controls are messed up. I am so proud of the armor on this thing for withstanding all of that. One of my new favourite From the Depths screenshots. Okay, we have a pretty basic laser here. It'll do 10,000 damage on its first shot. It has an intensity of 40, meaning it'll do full damage to at least metal, and it has the 2.5 damage multiplier. Originally, it was doing 15,000 damage, but this has reduced the overall damage by, like, 30%? 33%? So, let's see what happens if I hit that piece of metal on the front. So how the laser works is the higher the fire resistance of the target, the more intensity, that's why the damage is quite quick here, the more flammability, the more fuel. Okay, already fantastic. There is now more fire damage than there is laser damage by quite a large margin, wow. I am so happy for that change. Oh, I thought it was a person then. I'm going crazy, I thought light was a person. I've had no sleep since I've had that puppy. I just can't think anymore. Wow. Okay, we're going to be using lasers. Simple as that. It's changed. That one module has now made lasers a fire weapon. It did less than 5,000 laser damage, and it's already on 35,000 fire damage. And it's finally stopping at 40k. Brilliant. So 8 times the damage was actually in the fire, and only, yeah, 1/8 was that. So let's hit a piece of wood instead. So this will be more fuel, less intensity. Boop. Ah, although I think the laser was so strong it may have actually cut through, and there may be a fire inside as well. I did see the laser exiting the air. Okay. Still though, the point still stands. I'm going to be using a new laser system on the front, which is going to be a new main weapon. Really cool. I can't remember the last time I used a laser properly, except for when I was in space. And now it's different. I might even stick like this. So normally I prefer lasers with a more rapid fire aspect, but this one is the Q1, so it only fires once every second, which is the slowest you can get a laser to fire. Yeah, absolutely love that. Pinpoint fire. Brilliant. First enemy of 65, and it's a twin guard plane, I think. We'll try and hit it with these little shells is going to be difficult. Never mind, that's quite a few hits there. Yeah, we're seeing all the blocks starting to fall off there, the center. I think we should just keep on feeding that fire. That's so many shells that gun now fires. In theory, it's like hundreds of thousands of fire damage per time, as long as most of them hit. Oh, that isn't Twin Guard. That's Grey Talons. I was thinking of a completely different craft. That one's way scarier. Ooh, but the fire does not care for your fear. That's probably lethal already. There's probably enough fire now to go all the way through. Especially after that last explosion. Look at that. Sure, fire completely lacks the alpha strike of other weapons, but once it gets going, it is just gorgeous. Another target. Let's pause. I need to know what to do here. There are red portals we could run to. Twin Guard, although that looks like it's facing something else, to be completely honest. That's a lot of enemies, isn't it? I don't know what that is. Ah, too many targets. What a shame as well. It's such a good fight then. We showed off how powerful fire can be if it stacks in one location. Why is my laser suddenly a continuous laser? It wasn't like that a second ago. I'm assuming it's been damaged, because that is bizarre. It's odd, but I'm going to fire at the torso. You really should fire at the base, but I'm more likely to get a hit here. And if I do hit the torso, it can cause delays in firing and everything else. Also costs a fortune to repair, and fire, as we can see, can really stack up. So if we can just keep on burning in the same location over and over again, that could end up really good for us. Don't we know what the other enemy's doing? Oh, it's doing laser damage with smoke. Okay. Probably should start going for the torso. Sorry, the base, honestly. Torso's fun and all, but yeah. There we go. We stack that damage if possible. Get this on fire as well. Just spread fire to everything we can. Ooh, the fire's caused. Yep, the fire has destroyed the base of that target already. Is that on fire? It's impossible to tell with the smoke, with the fog. Very annoying. Oop, give me a second, my camera just went really weird then. Where's the actual turret? We should be trying to aim for that if possible. I think it's near the back. Yeah, definitely near the back. Oh, is there another enemy spawning in? Come on! Is 3 not enough? That'll be it. Okay, the next one's already targeting that. Stop again. Let's have a look, see what we're up against. I really don't want to increase the difficulty. I really need a hull upgrade before we do that. But oh no, that's a million resource. Okay, here's my logic. Grab that resource there. Okay, I've got 100k spare. Why did you have to hit my resource container? Oh, that is horrible. One-on-one versus any of these, I'd be so happy, but 3 enemies, so 4 enemies, is just brutal. Now we have no resources. I'd say my... yeah, that's where my material was. It's probably my least armoured section since I was running out of resource. I didn't really have time to dedicate to that. We've hit it. It's on fire. What does that mean? Probably nothing. With the sheer lack of an alpha strike, we probably can't prevent that from hurting us enough to completely sink us at this point. I mean, we'll try. We're going to go down fighting this very, very, very unfair fight. If I went through the red portal now, with the damage I've already sustained and the lack of materials, I would have just been a sitting duck for the next enemy to arrive, and that's at a higher difficulty. So we may as well just keep on firing, hoping for the best. Because you never know, maybe the fire will claw its way into something vital and cause major problems. Reloading. Nope. The gun is mostly belt-fed loaders, and it's now in its reload state, which means it can no longer fire. How the fire's already been put out? What? Stop with that nonsense. You know, I'm not too disappointed. The craft proved itself a lot in this difficulty. Fire proved itself. It can really stack as time goes on, making it a great secondary weapon. But for this very first attempt, we're going down. Yeah, there's nothing I can do at this point. The turret, by the way, still online, still defended. So for all the people who complained that I always build turrets that go down way too fast, and by the way, fair complaints, I've got better. Oh. Hit the microphone by mistake there. I'll have to do that again. That's the first time losing the adventure mode for a long time, to be completely honest. At least recorded. So sadly, our attempt was cut short at only difficulty 65. Definitely one of the worst outcomes I've had in a very long time in adventure mode. And honestly, completely my fault. I definitely tried to make the game too fair by going through the blue portal, trying to minimize how much resource I was getting per difficulty without realizing just how slow fire is and how much extra protection we were going to need. Maybe using the laser as a defense weapon rather than an actual offensive weapon like this might have been better. It's really difficult to tell. I think we could have done better there, and next time, I've learned my lesson. Less fair, more all-out brutal fire. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed, regardless of the slightly disappointing ending. I'll be back soon with a brand new fire attempt, and next time, we're gonna be as cheesy as we can be.